Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for waking up with me on Up with India. Today is Monday, October 19th, 2020, and here is your morning update. In local news, 22 News reports the newly crowned national Miss Juneteenth Queen Saniya Gay arrived at the Philadelphia airport last night, October 18th, after competing in the first national Juneteenth pageant and making history. Sylvia Lewis Harris, president of the Juneteenth Association, was quoted sharing that Gay took the competition by storm and that she had perfect scores all around, and that they are elated and excited for her national recognizance. National Juneteenth of Service Foundation spearheads the National Juneteenth competition, and Saniya Gay has been nominated to represent the nation all around the country for any Juneteenth activity. The Queen will make an appearance with the Buffalo Soldiers, and she's also accepting inquiries for state appearances. In more news, according to reports, last week, Wilmington City Council unanimously passed a contract negotiated by the Purzycki administration that will finally bring body cameras to the police force. The nearly $2 million 5-year deal with Axon Enterprises based in Arizona brings about 319 body cameras to Wilmington. The contract includes cloud storage of video, a 5-year warranty, and extra cameras in case of defects. The $2 million will be paid over the course of the 5-year deal. The contract approval from council came just hours after the city announced a $630,000 U.S. Department of Justice grant that will help fund the cameras. The city said it's in talks with the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge No. 1 union about policies and forthcoming training. Mayor Mike Purzycki said the grant came at a pivotal point as revenues dwindled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The issue of police accountability and transparency is also a top priority for the state's new Law Enforcement Officer Accountability Task Force, established in the wake of the police killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis. In more news, according to Delaware Online, the Wilmington City Council voted down Mayor Mike Purzycki's signature legislative effort to crack down on landlords and vacant property owners Thursday night. The so-called blight bill would have changed housing code enforcement from a criminal process to a civil one for the owners of vacant properties and rental buildings. It would have assessed $250 fines each week for building violations that are not fixed within 30 days. There also would have been a $500 fine for failing to register a rental property. The bill received 5 yes votes and 7 no votes. According to WDEL, Wingdads are turning coffee canisters and gutters into festive candy chutes that can stand alone or be attached to railings so that families can practice safe trick-or-treating amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Wingdad is an offshoot of Kate Maxwell's Wing Mom, a Brandywine 100-based company which helps families with just about everything from laundry to child transportation. The idea for the candy chutes came after a client requested a safe and socially distant way to trick-or-treat in line with state recommendations. In other news, WDEL reports eligible nonprofit groups in Delaware can apply for a share of federal CARES program funds to help offset pandemic-related expenses. The cash is available through the Delaware Nonprofit Support Program. The first part of whose 2-part mission involves paying operational costs for services related to COVID-19. For more information, you can head to decaresfund.org. In more news, according to the News Journal, for the past week, questions have circulated about the mother and stepfather of a 3-year-old girl whose remains were found last September in a Smyrna softball complex. Reports say that some of those questions have been answered, and now that the couple's charges have been revealed. But many others still remain, including how 3-year-old Emma Cole died and how her body got to Smyrna's Little Lass Fields. A Delaware Department of Corrections spokesman said that Brandon Haas, 38, was charged earlier this month with 2 felonies, endangering the welfare of a child and tampering with evidence. He was released from prison on October 9th after posting an $8,000 cash bail. Christy Haas, 28, is being held at Baylor Women's Correctional Institute on a $100,000 cash bail, and she was extradited to Delaware on Thursday from a Pennsylvania prison where she had been held for about a week. According to TNJ, the Haases were initially arrested by Pennsylvania police in early October near their Glen Mills home. They were charged in that state with arrest without prior requisition, which gives authorities the ability to take someone into custody for charges charges in another state or assist in extradition. Police have released little information about what led to Emma's death and why her remains were left in Smyrna's Little Lass Fields. Law enforcement filed Brandon Haas' arrest warrant under seal, meaning neither the public nor the media can access it. State prosecutor A.J. Roop said that due to the nature of the investigation and planned investigative measures in the future, unsealing the warrant would be detrimental to the investigation. Former co-workers and neighbors shared similar sentiments of shock and disbelief when hearing the news about the couple. Court records show that Haas's are scheduled for preliminary hearings in January. According to reports last week, a Wilmington police officer who admitted to allegedly receiving sexual acts performed on him from a wanted woman in his police cruiser is being sued alongside the police chief and the city. The lawsuit filed by the woman who made accusations against former officer Thomas Oliver claims that the city and police department failed to properly vet, train, and oversee its officers to prevent such misconduct. Oliver, who was on the police force for 11 years, was recently sentenced to probation after being found guilty of misdemeanor official misconduct. The jury found him not guilty of second-degree rape, sexual extortion, and having sex with a person in police custody. At his December trial, Oliver admitted to receiving oral sex from a woman who was wanted for a misdemeanor probation violation in October 2018. According to a court testimony, the former officer was in uniform and on duty, and she was intoxicated. He said that the woman told the jury she felt that she had a choice: pleasure the officer or go to jail. The lawsuit claims that Oliver knew or should have known the woman believed she was under arrest, was intoxicated, and was thus incapable of consent to sex with him. According to the News Journal, the litigation seeks compensatory and punitive damages. No attorney representing Oliver is named in the civil doc, and attempts to reach Oliver through his attorney in his criminal case were unsuccessful. The accuser's attorney did not respond to a request seeking comment. In more news, according to reports, a 96-count indictment accuses local men and teenagers of participating in a gang, with some also charged with murder, money laundering, gun running, and half a dozen non-fatal shootings. 7 men were indicted by a Newcastle County grand jury last week on charges of illegal gang participation and conspiracy. Each person is also charged with individual crimes connected to the alleged gang dating back to early 2019. The indictment itself includes little about the individual charges or evidence. Officials in Delaware Department of Justice and Attorney General Kathy Jennings declined to discuss the indictment. What are your thoughts on today's news? Don't forget to like and share on Facebook and Instagram at WITN22Wilm. And then later this morning at 10 o'clock, join me for a conversation with entrepreneur and relationship author Naeem Wolf Dingle from Philadelphia, PA, to discuss his controversial bestseller, Cheating is Not Cheating. Thank you so much for waking up with me on Up with India. For more news, updates, and information, follow us on social media at WITN22Wilm.